All right. Good evening. This is yet another episode on the show. This podcast is Singwa Mzi, and today we're talking about quite a spicy topic, one that will hopefully let us be friends even after this podcast. We have two special guests. One of them is on the road driving with his beautiful miss, and the other is the very lovely and well-toned lady who is a functional fit expert. And we'll start with the lady. Her name is Mnyazi, but otherwise known as Mel. I have no idea why she would want to be called Mel because there is no M in Mnyazi. And the second one is McDonald's Selate, the very famous former pharmacist, who is now a group exercise extraordinaire and has just taken up residency at a new gym. And this guy is full of excitement. And of course, the very ugly face, as we are used to, the former soldier.
Hey man, that's me.
Udaki.
If I wasn't
the known ugly face, Mnyazi, the ever so talkative soldier on our platforms. Never afraid to say anything, never afraid to pull any punches back. So we're getting into it and we're talking about food today. It's quite an interesting topic, because it's one that has been a contentious issue for the longest time. And the topic is, what foods are meant for human consumption? We have one of us, you guess who it is a Herbalife distributor. And of course, Herbalife, you know Herbalife. For those of you who don't know Herbalife, Herbalife is an American brand that were formulated by some scientists in the Herbalife category. And they have basically made the industry of nutrition reachable to everyone. It's a very contentious issue, but I first want to get your thoughts on it. Mel, I'll start with you. The lady, the beautiful lady. What are your thoughts on food in general? What do you eat?
Okay. I think I missed the last part of your question. But you were saying what? Yes, you were saying. Repeat your question again. What?
I was saying, what are your thoughts relating to food according to human consumption?
Okay. So basically, I think in my view and my studies and research about food, I think, humans are supposed to be eating like whole foods. Whole foods are like the best thing that is recommended for humans. And whole foods are actually food that come from the ground, food that are not processed, but food that are naturally grown, which are most of the time the best type of foods that one can eat, right? So I think we know that in this fitness industry, there's so many fad diets, and there's this and this and that and that and that. But in my overall experience, I feel like it's just a matter of understanding food, what food is, understanding how much your body needs of that type of food in order for you to reach whatever goal it is that you have, whether it's weight gain, weight loss, weight maintenance. But I think the best thing for any human being is whole foods, and I'm talking, your carbs, your nuts, your vegetables, all these wholesome stuff that are out there. There's so many food.
On that point, I know McDonald's is probably having some network issues. Z, I'm gonna throw this line to you. do you think that it is appropriate to say that when you visualize someone and you see someone, is the food directly related to how a person looks? I'm going to where you are what you eat. So if I see you and you look overweight to me, am I correct in saying that you are not eating the right foods for yourself?
To answer your question, I would say yes. I would say however, when it comes to a human body, there are many things that can make you look in a particular way. It could be a sickness, it could be anything. So, but yes, most of the time, the food we eat does affect how we look like.
So is
a short answer.
Mel was saying that we should be eating wholesome food, and that is basically a bulk of the food that we should be eating is food that comes from the ground. Now, as much as that is true, but according to human civilization and the progression that we are at, there are so many fast food outlets. Is it still relevant, and is it possible to still eat such foods in this day and age?
Let me tell you something, man. This when we started talking about this topic was over the weekend, and on Sunday, after we decided that this is going to be the topic for the week, I decided, okay, let me do a little bit of research. Let me find out more about this topic, so that when we meet and we discuss this, I should at least have more knowledge on the subject, or at least have more questions, or have more, I don't know, whatever opinion. I don't want to call it an opinion. I watched a couple of documentaries, and one of them was a documentary on Netflix. I would recommend everybody to watch it. It's called What's
Popular.
You know it.
The popular one, yeah.
And another one is called The Game Changers. It's also on Netflix. Now, these guys on this documentary, they came out with something I never thought it was possible, or something I never knew, and I decided to try it, actually. And they say, as human beings, we are meant to eat plants. We're not meant to eat meat, we're meant to eat plants. And I said, this week, try and eat plants and see what are the changes that are going to happen to your body. They mentioned the changes that will happen in your body if you eat plants, right? And I tried plants for the whole week. I would say on Wednesday, on Thursday, I did feel a little bit sick, but it was not too severe. I managed. Now I'm feeling all fresh and everything, and I lost 6 kilograms this past week.
Wow.
Just by eating plants. So I would say it worked for me in terms of what I wanted to achieve. But what I can say is that, yes, you are right. It's very difficult when you are at a restaurant to order your meal, because your order is a 5-minute conversation in order to find out what is it that is good for you. So your order
depends.
The menu and say, look, I will take this. No, you have to ask what's in it, what is it made for, what you have to ask, otherwise, yeah. So yes,
I think on that I'm gonna throw this question back to Mel, because as I said, Mzi actually did answer my question in the end. Mel, do you think it's still possible, and if at all, is it realistic to expect the modern day man to stick to the caveman diet and the diet of yesteryear in this day and age?
Yeah, well, it really depends on people and how pedantic they want to be with their food and preparation. I think nowadays in the world that we live in, we've got convenience, number one, right? We've got convenience whereby you can easily prepare meals and get away with healthy stuff still, but easier to make. And then you have your fast food, which is extreme as well. I think they're always extremes. There's an extreme in terms of extreme healthy, where you are literally looking at what is inside everything that you're eating, like Mzi was saying now. And there are those people that will eat whatever is fast. For me, I think we can always strike a balance in everything.
Practical.
I think majorly understanding what is good for you, you then try to work out what is a healthy balance for you and what is realistic for you in terms of your time, your schedule, what you're doing. Some food, I don't think some food are harmful. I've watched the documentaries he's talking about, and I feel they're a bit extreme for me. For me, I think they're totally extreme for me. I still think people can live very healthy lives, eating some of the regular stuff that they can buy, even if it's processed but not over processed. Like your rice is processed, your some of the mealies that you eat are processed, but they are still fundamentally good for you. Some of the plants, there's organic plants and then there's non-organic plants. So some people say I'm going organic, and some people, we still eat your other plants which are mildly processed as well, but they still hold some of the important nutrition or nutritious things that you need from it. So yeah, but I think generally it's just a matter of striking a balance in finding what is good for you and what your goal is, Mzi. If you really want to, if you say I want to lose, a lot of weight, obviously your planning of how your meals are structured, will be stricter than somebody who wants to maintain or gain or other stuff as well.
On that. It's a good thing that you guys touched on organic and unorganic food. And I'm going to just tease your brain a little bit more. Mzi, I want to throw this one at you. There's one particular shop. It's a retail shop as well as a food outlet. And they sell the name organic, and they put a price tag on it. The name organic, they put a very high price tag on it. And for my layman understanding of organic is anything that comes from the ground, basically.
Yeah.
So this one shop that starts with a W, they label an item. They put it organic, and then they put 200 rand on it.
A markup.
A high markup. I mean, this is food we can basically plant ourselves in our backyards.
Yeah.
But we are buying it from this shop at a price of convenience, as Mel said. I mean, we are selling convenience, and I think human beings are becoming too lazy to plant their own foods, and they're becoming too lazy, and this word pedantic. If you want to be pedantic about your own diet, your own eating plan, I mean, sometimes I find it so difficult to word the word diet or eating plan or eating guideline, because so many people are just wired to think, diet, starve. So my question to you, Mzi, the price that these shops put on anything being organic, do you think that they are now threading on the integral and the very fine line of people's mercy on themselves? Because these people can do this themselves. Why do they need the shops to give them organic foods, whereas they should be promoting the customers to grow their own food? Why market and also economize people's weaknesses for your own benefit? Do you think that these shops should exist, or should the health experts, be teaching people to grow their own food?
This goes back to this is not only indaba yokutya. I think this goes across everything that's being sold in the world. The main reason why we've got businesses, because businesses are there to solve problems that are existing in the community. So if you've got a community of people who don't have time to plant their own meals, or who are lazy or don't have land to plant their own meals, and you've got that and you can solve that problem, that means you've got a business. And if you think that by it being more organic, and it means that more people with money will still buy it, why don't you take the price up? Because that means that it's worth it. Yeah, so I think they should.
But is it humanly to do so?
I don't think they are trying to be human though. They are a business.
Look, for me, yes,
The question now, I want you to answer this question.
Let's jump
I want you to
in.
answer this question.
I think it's got
We're
something.
going to this topic here where we go. Is healthy food expensive? Mel, take it away.
No.
Take it away, Mel.
Healthy food is not expensive. But I'll start with the previous question that you posed to say, and to support what Mzi says, in the world that we're living in, there's always a gap. And I think that particular shop also saw a gap. There is a high class market that likes things, and they like buying nice packaged things. And sometimes it's all about the packaging, because people buy what they see, the packaging, and they are drawn to that and they're willing to pay for it. So I cannot blame the business for doing what they're doing, because they saw a gap and they're operating in that space, right? But to answer the second question, I don't think healthy food is expensive at all. I think people just don't know how to shop, maybe, for healthy food or healthy living. And I think it goes with the notion that normally when people talk about healthy eating or healthy diet, already people think they can't eat their normal foods,
What is the normal food?
Your normal food, which is your pap, which is your rice, which is your meat, They already think they have to give away everything that they have and start from scratch and buy all these expensive things that they've never even eaten before.
We're going to the expensiveness again. You just said that.
But I don't know. For me, I just don't know where that notion comes from. I don't know who told them that they have to buy expensive stuff. Because for me, I always say, give me a shopping list. Tell me what you're buying, and I can create something for you with what is normal to you. Because I also understand that if you're gonna try now start eating things that you don't know, chances of you sticking to that are like this.
One thing that is I think that is very fancy, and this thing is absolutely loved by bodybuilders. They want to play egg whites. Egg whites. I mean, if you took an egg from your mother's house and you took the yolk and threw it away, and you beat up that egg whites, and you said that no, you need to get as much proteins from that egg white as possible. So that's why you're throwing away the egg white. Do you think your black mother would understand?
I've got two things, Hercules. You left me behind, Mr. Egg White.
Tell me.
Let's finalize what the question. Mel asked a question, or she said she doesn't know where people get it from. But
expensive.
It is not a South African thing. You see, we watch a lot of American things. In America, eating out is cheaper than cooking.
Yes.
But in South Africa, it's the other way around. So in America, for them to get a banana, it's expensive. For them to get a cabbage, it's more expensive compared.
Healthy food in America is more expensive. Healthy food
I think. Look.
Exactly. Yes.
I lived there for 2 years,
Perfect.
and I know And I know that takeaway is a lifestyle because the takeouts are so much cheaper. Like it's not like ours here, where takeouts are actually expensive. La in South Africa, but there you pay $5 for a few extra large. What don't you understand what I'm saying? And for $5 you would not even buy proper or proper food, for instance, or anything like that. But yes, I think Bona generally the cost of living is high. Food, housing, you name it, the cost of living is generally high. So perhaps that's why that notion of eating healthy is expensive. Because, but not to say it's expensive as such. It's just that eating out is cheaper than actually buying your own food and preparing your own food.
And then you get.
And people don't like preparing food. Another thing, they don't like preparing food.
Yeah.
And then you get.
Also, Mzi, America has one of, if not the most highest obesity rate in the world.
I'm sure that's exactly where we are going, because I think
the most unhealthiest in the world.
Yes.
And I say this because America claims to be a first world country, and when I say it claims to be, it's because they have a team, so to say, that goes around and classifies all the countries around the world, whether this country is a first world country or this country is a third world, and such and such. No country in Africa is a first world country, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no country in Africa that is a first world country. So when they claim that they are a first world country, that means that they are advanced. That means they are technologically advanced. So you would think that they would also have the most healthiest human beings that have a higher life expectancy. But that's not the case. Why?
But do you know why?
Why?
The same documentary that we watched, me and Mel, and you didn't watch,
We watched it together.
No.
I wasn't invited to this Tusam. So
No, I watched it a long time ago. I watched it.
Wives and husbands are watching this, please.
I'm just saying. Okay, carry on.
So in the same documentary, what's happening is that they are the American cancer something. I'm not going to mention the whole name. Sort of, it's a society or an organization that's fighting cancer in that country. They are sponsored by KFC, Tyson. Apparently, they deliver these things. What is this? They deal with meat. So they are sponsored by these companies that are selling the same food that is people to be obese.
Wow.
So if you've got that situation, and if you think about it, if you've got that kind of a situation, it shows you, Bangaba, the laws that we have in almost every country. It's laws that are pushed by people who have money. You understand? You have to lobby the government and all that stuff. So yes, when they are being a first world country, also in terms of now these companies playing a role in the society, they are also being allowed to do that because they control the rules.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna swing this question back to Mel. Mel.
Yes.
Eat fast food, right? It's a very funny thing because I've seen a lot of fast foods have messages on them because I read a lot when it comes to the things that I consume, and they claim to be healthy. This is good for your health. I've seen that in a lot of McDonald's and KFC packages.
Really?
Yeah. I can screen grab one for you. Not that I'm working fast food right now, but I mean, why do these fast foods claim to to have any health benefits for people that consume them?
Sure, that's a difficult one, hey, because I don't remember seeing one that said it's healthy if it's a fast food.
I'm gonna show you. McDonald's.
When did you watch our documentary?
That the McDonald's burgers are
It's a while ago.
it's beef and it's healthy, it's good for you. They put the words healthy and it's good for you.
Yeah.
I've seen KFC saying that it's good for nutrition, it's good for your family to have as a family. I mean, they word it in such a way. I mean, these foods are good to have in a family environment. Meaning like it's good for kids, good for adults. But is it really good for adults? Is it really good for kids?
You know what they say?
Yeah.
You know what they say they do? They say they take fatty meat and take lean meat. Both of them are toxic. And say this one is better than this one. They're not saying it is healthy. So you find that what you saw, they were saying, maybe what he saw was they were saying, look, KFC.
Yeah, the difference between this
better than something else, but they didn't say it in that manner. So
they see a lesser evil.
Yeah, complex. They are both evils, but they are a
lesser.
That's what they mean.
Yeah, and I think that would make better sense, and I think that's what I would also talk about to say with food. I mean, we can look at chicken, we can look at a chicken breast and look at a chicken thigh and wing. You know what I mean? And we say this one is higher in fat, and this one is lesser in fat. And then you get to choose which one is better for you. I recommend the chicken breast. Why? Because it's less fatty and whatnot. So I think even with fast foods, for me, fast food generally, I'm not a regular fast food eater because of the preparation method, which I don't always vouch for. You understand what I mean? I like to eat stuff that I know is prepared in a particular way or a particular way. Even if it's not the deep fried, I know if something is deep fried, then I'm like, okay, I'm wary of it. If I eat it, it would be really now and again, But like I'm saying, even with fast food joints, a person is able to kind of neutralize what they're eating as well.
You know what? Mzi, I'm gonna go back to what you said in the beginning. But there's one thing that a friend of mine, that I was gonna invite on Friday, but because I couldn't make it. He was unable to make it today. Utemani is a fitness professional and he's very big on nutrition. He's a very learned man, and he has a nutritional qualification, so he is a nutritionist as well. One thing that he said that he did back in varsity when he had his time for was that he wanted to start having a healthy meal type of business, where he would make healthy meals for people to pack so that they don't go hungry, number one, and they feel with the correct amount of nutrients for the day. They don't feel tired because in a varsity setting. I mean, you need to study for long periods, So if you have a lot of fatty foods, it kind of dislodges you from your sleeping patterns, and you find yourself bloated, and you find yourself not being able to concentrate. So the reason behind what he had as his kitchen was that he was going to create healthy meals. He went on. He did it. He got the support from his superiors, and he started formulating these ingredients and also this. Call it a diet plan for the meals, the meals he had. And he went to go sell them at university to students. And guess what? Nobody bought it. Yeah. And he had a competitor who was selling hot chips, non-oil, selling like crazy. And he is telling his students, listen guys, this is cheaper than oil and their hot chips, and it was close to the price of oil chips, but it was more healthier. and obviously it was packaged nicely. It had a good food content and nutrient content in it, but it never sold. And then
Yes.
one thing he did, he was like, you know what? I'm running at a loss here. My food is not selling. What do I do? Do I change my business concept and just or do I stick to what I believe in and I die? So what do you guys think? I'm gonna start with Mel. Remember, I'm sorry with Mzi. I said Mzi, I won't forget. Mzi, you said you watched this flick, this documentary, and it said that we should be eating plant-based foods.
Yeah.
And we should stay away from meat.
Yes.
Mzi, is it possible and is it realistic for any black individual to do that?
Yeah. It's highly possible.
It
is possible though.
I'm not talking about the possibility of it being able to be done. I'm talking about the conviction that would come from that person in changing the eating patterns from eating meat and now changing to eat more healthier foods.
Okay, I don't know if you consider me a black person.
I definitely consider you as a black person, but also speak for the masses, not for yourself.
I can only speak for myself. Anybody can only speak for themselves. It's a matter of discipline, man. It's a matter of discipline. Okay, before you go in, Mel, I once spent time with this other lady. She's a life coach, and her husband. We're doing the facilitation course. I think it was back in 2015. So what happened is that we were talking about substance abuse. I thought it was 2014. We were talking about substance abuse, alcohol, and all the stuff. And I was telling them that, hey, now I have a problem of drinking alcohol. Yeah. I have that problem. And they said, look, the best way to stop drinking alcohol is to win it on the subconscious mind. Meaning, what you do is to change the way you see alcohol. When you look at alcohol, the reasons that you give yourself should be reasons that will make you to stay away from alcohol. So instead of when you're passing a bottle store, you think about the alcohol, the beer there being cold and refreshing. You think about the things that happen on the roads when people drank the same beer. You think about what happens to your wallet after you've drank the same beer. You think about your health. You think about your family. You think about everything else. That way, in your subconscious, then alcohol will be said. When the word alcohol is mentioned, your conscious mind, when it's looking for the meaning of alcohol, it will have all this. Now, what I did this week was when I looked at meat the way those guys in that documentary looked at meat. I saw meat as this thing that causes cancer. I saw meat. I understand the same thing that's making my blood circulation not to be perfect. I looked at meat that way. And yes, until now I still see meat that way. But if I want to change meat, then I must have a picture of a braai. Start looking at a braai more. Then
all right.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting the question that I asked, but like you said, you can only answer for yourself. Mel,
now I wanted to say, I think generally there's a perception that healthy food does not taste good, and I think in black culture, African culture, there's a notion that healthy food does not taste good, right? And I think it's today's generation maybe that looks at it like that, because for me, when I looked back as to what our grandparents were eating, they were eating spinach and pap, You know what I mean? They were eating organic stuff. And honestly, they were not eating a lot of meat. If we're being honest, they were not eating a lot of meat. They would slaughter chickens, but nakona it was occasional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So they were not eating meat the way we eat meat with every meal, every day. You know what I mean?
Meat was a
For
luxury
them,
for
meat was a luxury for them. Yes, time has changed and it has afforded us meat, but meat also comes with its disadvantages as well in terms of health. But you look at them, you look at their life expectancy, they had a higher life expectancy because of what they were eating. They were eating highly organic stuff. Everything that they ate most of the time was from the ground. Me and my grandmother is still alive today. She's 103, and I know she would plant and she would do her own stuff from the garden, and we ate most of that. Like the chicken that was slaughtered once in a while would be done once in a week. Sunday was the day for meat most of the time. You understand what I mean? But Monday to Saturday we were eating cabbage, spinach, and all these things. So
I think for my home as well, just umvubo every day. Like umvubo every day.
Exactly. So,
but my question, Mel, my question. I would like for you to answer for the masses, because I want you to be able to change people's perceptions to food. How can we convince these people that we should be eating more healthy food as opposed to fast foods? I think we're fighting the fast food pandemic here more than anything, because the foods we're eating, there's a lot of sugar content. Sugar is extremely bad. Mzi mentioned alcohol, and alcohol is a very big catalyst to eating even more fattier food. Because so how then would you be, if you're speaking at a meet and you had adolescents in front of you, I mean kids ranging from, I'd say, 14 or even 12 to 21, and you are at a position of trying to convince them, not yourself, but them, that food is vitally important and that we should be eating wholesome food and that we should not, or maybe stay away or minimize eating meat.
Oh, it's a difficult one. And like I'm saying, perception is that healthy food is not nice, And I think for me, the beginning is to actually show people that it's not that healthy food is not nice. It's maybe how you've seen people prepare healthy food that has maybe made you believe that it's not nice. Because many people will boil and boil and boil, and then things are drenched in water, and then it doesn't look nice and it doesn't taste nice. But I think the first thing is for people to understand that, look, there is healthy food that you can prepare and you can actually still make it taste nice and taste healthy, and what it does for you, the benefits of it, how your body receives it is better as to how fast food processes in your body. I think if people understood, we'll see what does fast food do when it gets to my body versus what healthy food does when it gets to my body, then maybe people would be more open to adding in some stuff. Because I always say, what I always say to people I work with, I'll say, try add a green to your plate. That's where you start. Start by adding a green something to your plate with every meal.
Do you think that this is the government's responsibility to teach our young people to eat more healthy food, or is it individually based? Which I think I'm going to more what Mzi was saying, unfortunately, because I can see where I'm going. Because now, Mzi, do you think that the government is responsible for making our youth have more healthier food?
My brother, it's the same thing as what is this? As when I answer questions, I will never give you a straight answer. Forget.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as with crime. With crime, as much as the government can try to help our kids to see, at the end of the day, it is upon that kid's choice to make a decision. look, I'm not going to do crime. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do whatever. So it's basically learned labor. If government can only do so much, that's what I can say. They do have that responsibility, but even your parents can only try.
All right. As McDonald comes in, remember we did say that we have one of our colleagues who is a
Topic.
I don't know whether I should be mentioning the name, but because he's here, I think we can. I think we can, right?
Mention Herbalife. That's a political organization.
All right. Now we have a Herbalife expert. We have a Herbalife distributor. We have a Herbalife coach. We have a Herbalife believer.
No, they've got titles.
I don't know.
Titles Mzi Rangakitin.
Hey, I know you got no moves. I think someone else should be asking the question. Now, I'll give you
Herbalife. Senior supervisor. Millionaire.
Please.
What do you guys want to ask? I think I think McD. Some of the questions that were being asked here were about how healthy some of the foods we're eating. Organic versus non-organic, meat versus plant-based, and all those things. Where would you fit Herbalife in that spectrum?
Okay. Herbalife is plant-based. Plant-based food.
What is it?
What are you guys
ingredients?
Sorry?
Ingredients in the Formula One shake with chocolate, cookies and
you have your carbs. You have your protein.
My friend.
Vitamin.
Uko carrot, uko oh, you don't know. Come on, when I feel like a bone.
Mel, what do you say? Mel, you also distribute, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm not. But I understand the marketing strategy. Yeah, I understand the marketing strategy. I'm not quite let me say I'm not 100% sure about what is in it. You know what I mean?
Wait, first of all, hands up. Who has used Herbalife before? Even once?
I have tried it. Yes, I have also tried it. I have tried it.
We have to try it.
We all used it.
Yes.
We all used it.
And yes, I have used it. I mean, personally, I did not like the effect of it in my digestive system. You understand?
What happened?
No, because at the end of the day, you have to. It's the shake, and then you have to take the fiber one and then it's the don. For me, maybe I had a sensitive system. I'm not sure, but I ended up feeling sick most of the time. The digestive system was slow most of the time, so things like that. But like I'm saying, I also do understand the marketing strategy. If I could share this. Do you guys remember the Special K when it came into the
Yes.
So Special K and Herbalife, same strategy. Same strategy. Why? Because it's a deficit concept, Special K, they say have a bowl of Special K in the morning and have one in the evening and have a proper lunch in the afternoon. Why? Because the Special K, you're in a deficit, you're like consuming under 200 calories for breakfast and for supper, and then you're only having a main lunch. So it's like you're on a deficit. If you want to lose it, you will definitely lose weight. That's what I mean, because you're on a deficit. Same strategy as Herbalife by doing the shake and on. But that does not necessarily mean you are getting all the nutrients that your body needs for the day, depending on
I think this is what
level and physical.
This is what I always explain to my boot campers, Mel, without cutting you off, is that you can lose weight. Never focus on weight. Never focus on weight. You can lose weight, but it depends what weight you're losing, because you can lose muscle at the same time.
Yeah. Because the most important thing is fat loss. Like just as Liz is saying, because you can lose weight and you also lose your muscle mass, which you don't want to do. So yeah, we take this. So Mel, back to you. We did Herbalife, and the example you used about special K. Herbalife, they're not really saying you mustn't eat. You need to eat. Like for example, the F1 is like a meal replacement. Like for myself, I carry in my car. I carry the F1 shake and the protein. Let's say I don't have time to eat, then I will take the shake as a meal replacement. See, like with other supplements like your USN, you have your lean muscle protein shake, you have your creatine. We do have those, like for example, creatine. You do have creatine, but you need to supplement in order for you to build muscle or to give you energy. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Now,
from my personal studies, you don't always have to supplement. The reason people supplement is because they find that they cannot maybe consume enough of what they feel they need. Like your protein. If you feel like you need 120 grams of protein and you feel like you can't eat all of it in your food, then you supplement it. But I don't think supplementing is a must or a necessity or ideal. It's a matter of being able to plan your meals. Because for me, I totally believe in planning my meals. I know how to calculate my protein, my carbs, my whatnot in all the food. And it's just a matter of preparing well so that I have all of that incorporated for my workout, for my physical activity and my goals as well.
Yeah.
So I think, it's that thing, that W shop that we mentioned of convenience as well. But you are selling something in a bottle and people are gonna buy it because it's easier and it's simpler and they don't have to think about all the logistics of.
Yes, sir. Say it. Ted.
I think the elephant in the room here is that a lot of nutritionists, qualified nutritionists, have been in a diabolical fight with the Herbalife gang for the longest time. I think it's also a fight of I am qualified to advise and also suggest certain foods to people, and you only hold a Herbalife sticker or whatever, and all of a sudden you are telling people what to eat. That is the fight that I think is the most contentious and also the most prolific fight between people who are not selling Herbalife and people who are selling Herbalife. Whether the people that are selling Herbalife actually go and educate themselves even further, except for the seminars. Leave the seminars, but going to the internet or reading books on nutrition and telling people, well, listen, okay, this is what I know from Herbalife. You should eat this and then get Herbalife. And then I would love for McDonald's to tell me that they are not only telling people to not eat certain foods and take Herbalife as a replacement, but to incorporate that with the foods that people are eating. So I'd like for McDonald's to clarify that, because there's a fight between nutritionists and people in the fitness industry that know nutrition, perhaps qualified. They are not qualified nutritionists, but they know nutrition. And then there's the Herbalife gang that knows nutrition according to Herbalife products only, and not necessarily on food. So I want McDonald to just satisfy my curiosity in answering and saying, do the Herbalife distributors and Herbalife gang actually educate themselves even further outside Herbalife about food in order to tell people about what foods to eat in accordance with Herbalife?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, Hercules. Yeah, like I said earlier on, when Herbalife is not only saying people should only eat Herbalife, like for example, let's say like research shows that, for example, ladies, females, they need to consume 80 to 100 grams of protein per day, and for guys it's 100 to 120 grams of protein. So like Mel gave a good example. Like she calculates how much, or like her food, she does calculate her food, how much protein she needs to take, especially for example after a workout. Like myself, after weightlifting, I know I will eat 4 boiled eggs. You see, then I will take my protein shake to supplement, because it's difficult to eat 120 grams of protein just like that. So that's why you need to calculate. So both your food and the Herbalife, like the supplement, they go hand in hand. You see, so there are nutritionists who are like doing further research in making sure that whatever you take is what is in the bottle.
Okay. Are you satisfied, Z?
For me, I hear your question.
I don't have questions about Herbalife. I just wanted to know what's in there. What are the ingredients? Mine right now is...
I don't think McDonald would know what is in the ingredients of Herbalife. Only the scientists would.
I don't think they share that information.
Yeah.
Which is very dangerous. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I won't say much.
I think with not just with Herbalife, Mzi, not just with Herbalife, but with other healthy food as well that are tinned and canned. If you look at and some of the other stuff that are being sold, when you look at the nutritional guide, there are some stuff that they don't disclose, or they will say and other. So you'll ask yourself, what are these other things that they're mentioning in there? So unless something does not, if it doesn't come from the ground and it's in a can or it's in a bottle or it's not, but we never really have certainty of what is in that.
Can I disclose?
But this one I'm scared because they can cancel me.
Can I disclose something, man?
Yeah.
Like from my working experience, working in a lab, especially the food industry. So there's something they call the bricks. Bricks is like the ratio of water to your sugar content in your juice. It's called the bricks. So let's say they would manufacture juice, like they have the puree. Puree is like the concentrate of the juice. Let's say we're making orange juice. They have the concentrate, then they dilute it with water. Then it so happens that they bring it to the lab, then they check, is it within the specification of the bricks? Let's say now it's low. You know what happens? They put white sugar into that juice. Then it reaches the required spec, then it's packaged. Then Hercules, you are drinking 100% juice.
Yep.
That's what happens. Yeah.
So anything that is in a bottle or a package, you must know.
On that, Mzi, please do know, Mel was saying this, is that we can never be certain, even with any other foods that are packaged. We can never be what is in it. Because the only thing that you can be certain of is what you grow in your body.
No, I'm just saying that what I'm saying is that the shop with the W, I can say whatever shit I want to say about them. They can try to sue me, they will get nothing. and then you go to these guys. They've got a gang that can hurt me, physically, but in terms of what I do. So as much as I'm going to talk, but I'm not going to go to a place where I can harm their business. You understand? I won't say don't take Herbalife, don't know. I will just ask. All I wanted to know for today's interview, what's in the product. Okay, what do we put in? And if we're not told, it's still fine. It's a pity. Maybe someone that knows out there, comment down below. Let us know if you know some of the ingredients in the products. Yeah, that's all.
I think anybody that knows what they will only tell you what is written on the bottle. Because there are products that are disclosed and they will tell you that this is what is in it. But as McD also mentioned, Uti, there are some stuff that we could never really know. Uti. How much you claim that there's little sugar in here, but really, like the shakes, the Herbalife, for instance, the sugar content, like you can taste the sugar, you don't know. Uti, is there sugar in there? Why does it taste so? Because it actually tastes good. It tastes better than most of the shakes out there. You know what I mean? So you wonder, how did they get this right? So what did they do to it? Yes, there's something that we'll never really know.
Look, I have friends, guys, that have been in their own manufacturing labs when they've been doing protein shakes and supplements, and these are friends that I went to school with, And I asked them, how the hell do you make these things? No, I've got a scientist, and then we get together and then we decide what to mix and what. Huh? So that means when we are going to finally.
I know. Tell me, it gets taken to the left, as McDonald mentioned, and then they meet the requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah, funky cookies. Funky cookies. Funky peppermint.
Yeah. So guys, I promise you, like even a few years back, I remember that McDonald's was under fire because they were selling burgers that were coming from human meat and also horse meat. Yeah, well, human meat and also horse meat. Google.
I don't know.
Google.
No.
I don't know about either. I don't know about that either.
We distance ourselves from that comment. The comment is only by Mr. Singwa
I've never.
But we will publish this so that people for content.
And I will research. I will go read.
You know what? What else they said in that documentary, Hercules? They said that eating plants. Don't ask me if I realize that this with me. Don't personalize it, ne? Because I might just answer you. They say that eating plants increases your erections by 500%. Look at those eyes.
Eating plants tonight. Eating those plants tonight.
Yes.
I watched the documentary.
Yeah. Hercules.
Yeah. It's becoming very handy.
Yes.
See something about plants, ne?
Yeah.
You know garlic.
Yeah.
Garlic, ne?
Maybe.
Yeah, I watched a documentary where they had two guys married. So the other one had a problem, like in when it comes to the bedroom, eh? So what they did is they gave him raw garlic, like eating raw garlic.
Yes.
So what he did is that you know garlic, it clears the cholesterol around the veins.
It's an antibiotic.
It's an antibiotic, ne? And it clears the cholesterol around the veins. Like for someone to get an erection, you need like high blood pressure.
Yes.
what happened? It cleared all the cholesterol, and then his libido
Yeah.
Wow.
went high.
So garlic is a plant. If you didn't know, Hercules.
Yes.
You know what they say? They say within minutes of eating meat, those fatty acids, they go to the blood vessels and block. And think about this. If
I need that garlic. I need that garlic. This is like 7 I'm starving.
It's garlic.
Actually,
Yeah.
do you guys know? You watch UFC? I'm sure Mnyazi and Mel.
yeah, I know.
Kind of who's that guy from Ireland, the famous one, the notorious one?
Conor McGregor, we know him.
Conor McGregor, eh?
He's our friend.
Yeah. I think his last fight, I think he lost against this other white guy. I forgot his name, eh? They showed
That's the warrior.
their diet. Yeah, they showed their diet throughout the week, like when they were preparing for the fight, eh? They showed what they were eating, and Conor McGregor was eating meat one way,
No, you know,
for protein.
you know who you're talking about.
Sorry?
You know who you're talking about. I know that fight. It was the fight with who's this guy that smokes a lot of dacha. Lono brother Wakiba.
He's white. He's a white guy.
The
That's
boss.
the warrior.
No, not Warrior.
Yeah, they showed the guy. He was only eating plants one way.
I know the fight you're talking about. Who's this guy? The one after he won, he said, "Surprise, surprise, motherfucker."
Yes, that's the guy.
Oh,
was eating plants.
He's a boxer from Mexico, man, or near Mexico. Oh,
Yeah, he was
eating.
Yeah, the same guy. He was eating plants.
BMF, the one was fighting with the BMF belt. Kimangban Lamjit.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yambona,
What is it?
Yeah,
guy. Yes, I know that.
yeah.
He was on a plant diet, yes.
He was on a plant diet throughout.
Mm.
So you know what happened? Conor McGregor came out strong, beating up the guy, but his energy levels they dropped.
But that's Conor.
And the other guy, like his energies were like on par. Then he beat Conor McGregor because of plant-based diet.
Yes.
Wow.
So I did a bit of research, like before I go to do class, man. Like I would have like a veg or something. You should try it out and check your energy levels.
Yeah,
Wow.
Veg. Yes.
Guys.
On Valentine's Day, you don't take one to spare.
Listen, we're coming to the end of our podcast. It's been an amazing one. I know there's a few closing words that probably all of you want to have. I'll start just with Mzi. Actually, no, Mzi.
No, yeah.
I'll start with a beautiful lady. Mel, any closing words that you want to say? Anything about food in general? And what you learned from this podcast?
Yeah, I think, look, what I would say is that people need to be more involved with trying to understand what they are consuming. I think we are all responsible to kind of understand what is going on. There's so many things out there. We're all looking for quick solutions most of the time, but quick solutions don't mean that they are actually good for you or in the long run or in long term. So I think let's all just invest a bit of time trying to understand what we are consuming and how it actually affects our bodies. And I mean, as we had this conversation as well, you mentioned, interesting things about plant-based things and how it affects your body in positive ways as well. So not to say anybody must convert into a particular, eating plan or dietary whatnot or whatever, but I think people are just to go out there, open their minds to learning and getting information about stuff so that they can decide for themselves what they think could be good for them. That's all.
Amen.
That's beautiful.
McDonald's. I know that you got into this podcast a bit late and you had some issues because you were going home, but just to add on and also kind of make people and your potential clients feel more secure about the product that you are selling. What do you have to say in closing in protecting the Herbalife brand?
First of all, thank you guys for having me on this podcast. It's really a privilege. And then, I really appreciate your invitation. So first of all, I would say Herbalife, there's nothing wrong with Herbalife. What sometimes, for example, like there's also USN. People use USN. People have got preference. It's not a must that you must use Herbalife or use USN. As long as you take your diet correctly and you eat well, you exercise, that's the most important thing.
Awesome. Z?
Okay, I just did a quick Google search now because this thing of human meat was distracting me. Some are saying it's a false claim. I went from no. Yeah. So other people are saying it's a false claim. I hope it's fake news, man. I love humans. We can't be eating other humans. Evolution from plants to animals was enough. We can't be eating humans again. Right.
Any closing words?
Yeah, no, that's where I'm going. I did say, I tried a plant diet. I've been on plant the whole week, and then I enjoy it. I've got energy. My tummy, I sakumelani. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it, and I understand what's happening. So in my body, and at least I try to see what is it that I eat. So what I can say to other people out there, please, when it comes to your diet, try by all means to eat things that are going to work for you, things that are going to keep you healthy. I would personally recommend you try a plant diet, but at the end of the day, there is a lot of things that are happening out there in terms of abantu bathanda ukutya inyama zabo nento. It's fine if unoqelenza edit uyithi inyama zabo nento na. Lastly, watch indaba yokuba ngaba some of the things that we eat, it is not because government akaziyeki kuphela uba becima right. It's because these guys, they lobby so that they can take advantage of the laws. You understand? Like if you look in South Africa, we've got a lot of people with huge farms, and I'm sure they don't want to lose their farms just because government would push in plants. So these guys lobby government, and the laws will never ever favor eating plants, as I'm an advocate of plants this week. So yeah, is that, man?
All right. In closing, I think to add to what you were saying, Z, you basically answered my question that I asked in the beginning when I asked you, is that do you think it's practical for your normal South African to change to a plant-based diet? And you started waffling about it. It's about you. But really, government, like you say, has people that are lobbying financially to keep the status quo as is, because they are profiting big time from having people just basically extensively supporting their farms and their livestock and keeping people on eating meat and how they are actually eating right now. And I think what I've learned from my side is that if I want to have a longer life, I need to start being involved more in the preparing of my food. There's no other way. I'm getting older, and I would love not to depend on any medication or any pills, because I've got a lot of my mothers, my fathers, my grannies, my grandfathers that are depending on pills every single day. Hey, just special pills. why? So as I grow older, I realize the importance of food, and not that I would ever stop eating meat entirely, but I think this has given me more of a wake-up call to minimize the amount of processed foods I've been eating, and also to minimize the amount of meat that I've been eating, because my body needs to perform more, especially in the bedroom. Like I like mommy straight.
Can I jump on you, ne? But in terms of animal products, that includes cheese, that includes your milk, your
milk.
So I just want. So when we talk about animal products, we're talking about all those things that you get from animals. It can be
Actually, can I say just 1 minute, ne?
Yeah.
You know when God created men, ne? You know what He said to them? He said they must eat the vegetation. So people have been living in vegetation for a long time, especially Adam and Eve, until He brought the flood. Everything was destroyed. Just to supplement, to give them something to eat. That's where He said to Noah they can eat the animals. But God created men to eat vegetation.
Wow.
That's why everything that you see around you, even us, we are made up of carbon. Ne? And then, so like your carbohydrate, it's structures of carbons and everything. Your protein, actually the smallest unit of a protein is carbon. It starts with carbon. Then it forms amino acids, they form proteins. So now, they all come from the ground. And then God used the soil which comes from, He used the ground, the soil, to make a man. That's why you need to eat stuff that comes from the soil. That's why you degrade and you go back to the soil.
It makes sense.
No, but say value the podcast when I hear this. We are still going to say Ubanaba. Yeah, one of the animals that you eat and think you get protein from them. That's secondary.
Yeah.
They actually the saying they get their protein from the plants. So you need to go for the byproduct or for the secondary protein that you are going to get from an animal.
Wow.
That's a good example. Gorillas. You see how big they are.
Yeah.
Gorillas.
They eat
elephant. Maybe a gorilla is small. Look at elephants.
Wow, bro.
Rhino. You'll never see a rhino chasing a lion for meat.
Well, it's gonna make this strong.
As the WebCast, we are not responsible again.
Guys, I have to love and leave you out. Thank you so much for everything.
By the way, so what are you doing this weekend, man? And how this weekend? Yeah, you.
Which weekend? This one.
What are you doing, Hercules?
This weekend, it's Queenstown this weekend. It's a big event in Queenstown. Everyone in East London.
Hercules is busy.
I think, well, it's Queenstown this weekend. Utebe from Bloemfontein is going to Queenstown. Quella Step going to Queenstown. Leonita, Hamilton, who are the other guys? Paul. It's quite a couple of guys from around South Africa going to Queenstown. So I'm going to meet some instructors that I've always seen on the internet. I'm going to see them in Queenstown and we're going to talk about crazy things. First thing I'm going to talk about is this
garlic. It's garlic.
Man, what up to this weekend, the 13th of March?
I don't think I've got commitments this weekend. Yes, I'm not sure.
Come and take Zoom at 6:30.
On Saturday, 13th, let me just see.
Now, Coach X
Saturday.
This weekend, yeah.
6:30 evening.
In the morning.
In the morning?
Yeah. Conditioning. Think about it. McDonald's.
Happening.
Think about it. McDonald's. What are you doing this weekend?
The usual box class and then weight training. So Mzi, we must meet up this weekend for some weight training. You and me, Centurion, your home ground.
Yeah, let me eat enough plants. Yes, we are on 3 sessions. So guys, what I'm doing this weekend is I'm going to the robots to record a video, and I'll be and yes, we'll be there with my team in our Give Gas t-shirts next to the robots, having fun. That's what we're doing this weekend. And also the workout with McDonald, we'll show it on the podcast next week. Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Ciao, ciao.